So I am going to discuss the Coronavirus Act 2020. Again, I have been getting people saying that I'm a tinfoil conspiracy hat theorist for talking about the Coronavirus Act 2020. And also I've been classed as I might be a little bit crazy. Because I'm concerned about civil liberties and rights being taken away from the general public. The Coronavirus Act is the most draconian piece of legislation ever in my lifetime. Also, this spy bill, it's one of the most important pieces of legislation since the Magna Carta, and it's something that we should all be concerned about. Also, I'm just going to discuss, before I read this piece from The Independent regarding this spy bill, another piece of legislation which has gone through because of this Coronavirus Act 2020 is the 5 forms cremation death certificate. That form now has been removed, and everything now can be actually classed as COVID-19 on the death certificate. Now, the spy bill was heard in the House of Commons earlier this week. The whip advised all of everybody to abstain against voting on the bill. However, 20 Labour MPs actually voted against the bill. I wrote to my MP, John Trickett. He is actually one of the MPs that actually voted against this bill, so I'm really pleased to say my MP was one of those. Also, I believe that they've all been put on disciplinary for 12 months. Also, Save Our Rights put forward 8 pieces of legislation to take into consideration amendments that should be made on the bill, but that was rejected outright. It will now go to the House of Lords, who will then decide in respect to this bill. But I'll just read a little bit now. So this was from The Independent. Controversial spy powers bill is not fit for purpose. I'm fighting to change it. This piece is from Alistair Carmichael, and he wrote this piece. The Covert Human Intelligence Source Bill will give agents a license to kill in the interest of economic well-being. The broadly written legislation is dangerous and gives too many powers to evade the law. Today, MPs vote on a bill that would enable the government to authorise undercover agents to commit crimes up to and including murder, torture and sexual assault right here in the UK. The Covert Human Intelligence Source Bill gives vast powers not only to the security agencies but also to the questionable collection of public bodies. There are no real limits, weak safeguards and inadequate oversights. The bill has no limits on the type of crime that can be authorised. Murder, torture, it is all on the table as written. Nor is there any independent approval of a decision to authorise a crime or even a requirement for police or prosecutors to be informed about it at all. It is concerning that the bill allows crimes to be authorised not only in the interest of national security, but also on the disconcertingly vague grounds that they are in the interest of economic well-being of the United Kingdom. Perhaps I am too liberal about these things, but I don't think we should allow this government to authorise acts of torture in the hope an extra fraction of economic growth. What is the value in sterling required for us to crack out the thumb screws? Still worse, the bill grants these powers not only to the police and MI5, but also the Food Standard Agency, the Gambling Commission and the Environmental Agency, as well as 3 government departments. There are times when power like these are necessary to allow undercover agents to commit crimes as part of protecting our country. An MI5 agent infiltrating a terrorist group would be breaking the law by joining it and risking their life in the process. We owe them an enormous debt for the work they do to keep us safe. It is right that we give them the tools to support their need to carry it out. With the greatest respect to the staff of the Food Standard Agency, however, if we are allowing meat inspectors to commit murder, then something has gone seriously awry. This may all seem like a wild exaggeration of the powers held within the bill. The legislation is written so broadly, however, that there is little way to prevent each extreme abuses once enacted. The government has brought this bill not by choice but because it has been breaking the law for years and is now being forced by the courts to put it on a legal basis. It does not speak to good faith on their part. That is why my party is working with the human rights group Reprieve, as well as MPs from other parties to cut away the bill's excesses. Conservative MP David Davis and I have tabled an amendment which would limit the powers in the bill so they cannot be used to sanction murder, torture or sexual violence by a government agent. We would require vital independent oversight and ensure that innocent victims can seek civil redress, for example, if they lose out financially as a result of state-sanctioned crime. We would place strict safeguards on the use of these powers and limit their use to the police, the intelligence service, the National Crime Agency and the Serious Fraud Office. It is essential that there is a clear legal basis for the action of government agents. It has been lacking for far too long. This bill, however, is not fit for purpose. Parliament must stand up to this disturbing government overreach, and anyone who cares about the rule of law must oppose this bill as it stands. And that's Alistair Carmichael, in the Liberal Democrat Home Office spokesman. It's Chief Whip and party MPs for Orkney and Shetland.